I mean, some people are like really worried about like cell phone towers, thinking they cause like radiation or something, poisoning. This is not true.
Yeah, people are worried about 5G, right?
Don't worry about it.
No, not at all.
I mean, no. Like, let me put it this way. Like, if I had cell phones, if I had a helmet of cell phones,
Right.
strapped around my head and around my nuts, I would not
You're
worry.
good?
Yeah.
Yeah, I met a dude once.
Wait, what? A helmet of cell phones around your head and your nuts? This is crazy. I mean, I know Elon is a super genius, richest man in the world, and he's putting people in space, but I think he's wrong about this. And there's plenty of scientific evidence to suggest that cell phone radiation, EMFs, electromagnetic fields, coming off of cell phones are harmful for fertility for men. That's predominantly where it's been studied in men. There's a systematic review that was published a few years ago showing that cell phone radiation is clearly associated with lower testosterone in men. I don't know why Elon wouldn't be worried about that. Cell phone underwear doesn't sound like a very good thing to me. And subsequently, there were studies done on actual sperm. They had two groups of sperm from the same men, and they put one group just in a warm incubator, keeping the sperm happy and warm, another group in a warm incubator, keeping them happy and warm with a cell phone next to it on for 5 hours. Just one single exposure to sperm for cell phone radiation for 5 hours. That sperm had more DNA damage and motility was clearly impaired. To say that you can make underwear out of cell phones and it's not harming your hormones, testosterone in men, and your sperm motility, potentially negatively affecting your fertility, that's just ludicrous. This is crazy. I just don't understand how Elon is making these claims. I'm not worried about radiation coming from Starlink satellites. That's negligible on the surface of the Earth. And we can measure the amount of EMF coming off a cell phone tower. That's easily measurable with a device. But I think the biggest exposure for most people is the cell phone that you carry around in your pocket or in your purse or in your jacket all day with you that's negatively affecting things and that you put up to your head. So it's just scary to think about how these things affect us as humans. We know that the radiation coming out of your Wi-Fi router, the radiation coming out of your cell phone is microwave radiation. It's like a little microwave in your hand. You know the microwaves you had when you were a kid that you could make water boil in or you could make aluminum foil explode in? Yeah, that's in your hand. That's a Wi-Fi router in your house. You can measure this microwave radiation, microwatts per meter squared. You can measure it with a device. I've done it, I've shown this. You have a little microwave in your hand that you're putting next to your head, or you're putting in your purse, or you're putting in your sports bra, or you're putting in your pants. This is crazy. It just scares me a little bit. The other thing to understand is that it's clearly measurable that when you are in an electric car, there is a higher magnetic field. So this is different than radio frequency. But you can measure the magnetic field in a Tesla, and it's significantly higher than what you will find in a gas-burning automobile. So I've never heard anyone talk about this, but there are significant magnetic fields which are problematic for humans in other ways in a lot of today's new cars. You should measure the magnetic field in milligauss in your car before you buy it. Tesla's significant amounts of magnetic fields in these electric cars. And some cars that are not even electric now are having significant amounts of magnetic fields because of all the electronics. So electric cars also potentially problematic for humans because of magnetic fields, but you definitely don't want to make a cell phone helmet or cell phone underwear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I met a dude once who had ball cancer who was convinced that his cell phone was in his pocket, and that's what gave him ball cancer.
Nope.
No?
No.
Okay. Hey, buddy. Sorry. Yeah.
No, it's not. It's the cell phone is not. No.
Yeah, I didn't know this guy very well, but he was pretty convinced. Meanwhile, he kept the phone on the same side. He was one of those dudes that had the phone on the little hip thing, you know, little bracket on his hip. Kept his phone there, even after it killed one of his nuts in his eyes. He's like, well,
he really wants his phone. Well,
damage is done.
Your phone or your balls?
Yeah, he gave up.
I'd take my balls. If it's my phone or my balls, I'd take my balls.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Phones are not causing cancer.
So there's no concern whatsoever with the radiation that's caused by those things?
No, first of all, when people say radiation, there's just like they're conflating this, term from like nuclear, bombs, and like technically we are currently bathed in radiation right now.
This table has radiation, right?
Everything produces radiation. Everything's emitting.
Of course, that's true. We are bathed in radiation, but we're not bathed in microwave radiation to the level that's coming off your cell phone or your Wi-Fi router. You can measure this. I have an EMF meter that I have in my house, and you can measure it. If I turn my Wi-Fi router off and I hardwire all my devices, if I hardwire my computer so there's no Wi-Fi on in my house, the Wi-Fi antenna is off on the computer, the Bluetooth is off, it's very low, 0.05 microwatts per meter squared. It's measurable. This is microwave radiation as opposed to the other radiation that we're bathed in. Alpha, beta, gamma particles. Yeah, of course, these are different things, but you're not bathed in microwave radiation like what's coming off your cell phone and your computer and your Wi-Fi router all the time. That's false.
Right? Everything produces radiation. Everything's emitting photons all the time. So it's just a question of what wavelength, and if you have a very short wavelength or high frequency photon, that is capable of causing DNA damage. But we're talking about like ultraviolet and beyond. Your phone's not even close.
And yet, in studies with sperm, when cell phones are put next to sperm for 5 hours, you clearly see more DNA damage. So clearly, in these trials, EMFs, microwave radiation, that wavelength, can cause damage to DNA in human sperm.
The thing that really causes problems in, let's say, a nuclear explosion are alpha particles. So like basically helium nuclei. So those things they're like tiny cannonballs. So those will rip right through you. It's just like if you got shot with.
Yes, there are beta particles, there are alpha particles, there are gamma particles. Fair. Microwave radiation is different.
If you got shot with tiny cannonballs, bad things would happen. So that's also called radiation, but it's really particles. So you don't want to be bombarded with high-speed helium nuclei. That's going to be bad.
How's that happen?
Well, that happens in a nuclear explosion.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, avoid those.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah, so it's clear we are bathed in radiation, gamma, alpha, beta. It's happening at some level, but this is microwave radiation we're talking about with cell phones, completely different.
But cell phones are okay.
Yeah, cell phones are not emitting particles. So
okay.
True, cell phones are not emitting particles, but as we've seen, they are having microwave radiation at levels that can disrupt human cells, sperm, lower testosterone.
Is my cell phone going to cause brain cancer? I'm like, because of radiation. I'm like, do you mean photons or particles? And it's like, it's not emitting particles, so we can just put that aside. Don't worry about the particles. Then the photons that's emitting, the most they can do is slightly warm up your ear. And only by a tiny amount. It's like okay, if you had an ear warmer that was very mild, that's your phone.
Microwaves warm up food, yes. A cell phone next to your head, yes, it can warm up the tissues. But I think that he's underemphasizing how problematic these potentially are for humans. And studies are not reassuring. I think that Elon is very much underestimating the problems with EMFs for humans.
That's all. It's emitting photons at a frequency that is not going to cause DNA damage.
And yet it does.
So don't worry about it.
What concerns people is the
sleep easy
unknown.
at night. Don't worry about your phone. It's fine.
David Icke does not believe you. He's doing backflips right now. You fucking chill. So what concerns people is the unknown, right? They hear about 5G and then they hear about radiation and they're like, wait a minute, is this safe? What are we doing? Are we just...
And again, this is just observational, but I think there are a lot of people who feel better when they are in lower EMF environments. And we don't fully understand what these waves, what these radio frequency microwaves do to humans, how they can affect human behavior, how they can affect our judgment, how they can affect our stamina or our mental focus. Like, this is not benign stuff. So what can you do about this? It's all pretty straightforward. You have the power to do this. I turn the Wi-Fi off on my router, and I hardwired my whole house. So I only have Ethernet cables going to my computer, to my phones. You can turn the Wi-Fi antenna off and the Bluetooth antenna off on your computer. You can turn it off in your car and minimize your exposure to EMFs significantly if you do that. If you're not as crazy as me, you can put your phone on full airplane mode when it's on your body or near you. You can use wired headphones, which will reduce it somewhat. You don't want to put the phone up to your ear. And at night, you can turn off your Wi-Fi. You're not surfing the internet in the middle of the night anyway. You shouldn't be. So turn off your Wi-Fi at night. And you can significantly reduce your exposure to EMFs. So there's lots of things you can do that are well within your power to limit this stuff. So, I mean, Elon, I love you, man. You're doing amazing things in the world. Super genius. Keep at it. We need Elon's brain to be safe. Don't make a cell phone helmet and wear it, Elon, please. We need more smart babies in the world, so no one should make cell phone underwear. So, yeah, guys, don't do those things.